Your thoughts on that and general impressions of the debate tonight.
It's all tied into my general, which I think is epitomized by the fact that he came to the debate with Laura Loomer on his plane. That they live in an online world. I think at one point, we talked about some of the moments, the cats, the animals, the January 6th defense. There was a moment when he's defending himself against Charlottesville, and he said, all the best people have defended me. You got Laura Ingraham, you got Sean Hannity, and then he just says Jesse, as if everyone knows he's referring to the Fox News primetime line. Waters. He didn't have to say his last name. He just assumes people know who he's referring to. He's always kind of been cloistered. I think this kind of represents how cloistered he is right now, the bubble that he is in. And the anger that exuded was the anger of someone who only watches news, Fox News, or talks to Eric Bolling or something. It reminds me because I saw the clip from a few years ago on Afghanistan where John Bolton was on Eric Bolling's whatever show he had a couple of years ago. And John Bolton was laughing as he tried to give Donald Trump's Afghanistan defense. He's in this bubble. And when she triggers him with saying something that's not in this bubble, he got really angry. Like a viewer of Fox News would get really angry if they're at the bar and they hear something that's not the Fox News line. So I think that's where he lost this anger. But the original caveats from the beginning of this Dispatch Live from Kevin and Jonah are the same things I was thinking in the middle of this. I've been wrong before. Maybe it doesn't matter. But to the extent you're trying to win that middle voter who is undecided, they might not have known what he was talking about half the time with the cats. And where is this coming from? And he seemed unhinged. At least that's my impression. But again, who knows what the polls will show after.
And it wasn't even just the cat stuff or the Jesse references. This is kind of how Trump talks extemporaneously about everything. We pay attention to this for a living. It's our job. So we know when he says, you look at the governor from West Virginia, we know, he actually means Virginia, and it's Ralph Northam, and it's a comment that he made in 2017 to a radio host, but no effort to explain what he's talking about there, just like a reference to a meme that his people know. And at one point he tried to make a joke of I'm speaking, as cable news viewers know that Kamala said that in a rally on Tuesday, August 26th or what have you. But most people, as Jamie is talking about, are not going to be in on that. They're going to be wondering, why is he bringing this up? Or, when he goes off on these tangents, he's not explaining how he got to that point. And that was something that Kamala did, not on every answer, but on a couple particular answers, actually took the time to explain herself. She said the Taliban, a terrorist organization who XYZ, that sat down with Trump on, and Trump relies so much on this shorthand that he assumes everybody's in this same shared universe with him, and they're not. We understand it because we pay attention, but that is not everyday voters.
Sarah, how much does that matter? If this is, you've argued for a long time that these elections are primarily turnout elections. It's their base elections. Obviously, they're competing with people in the middle. That's, when you're talking about states that are won or lost by 10,000 votes, everybody matters. But could you make the argument that because Donald Trump did what he did, because he was so strong and forceful, he was tough, he didn't take any grief from Kamala Harris. When she came at him, he pushed back forcefully and quickly. That this is exactly the kind of debate that he needed to make sure that the people that he needs to vote for him actually show up.
Okay, first I want to apologize to Jamie because while he was talking, I made a face, and I just want to explain. For those podcast listeners who know, while trying to not disturb a bunny, I fell down some cement stairs outside and hurt myself. Then just now, while Jamie was talking, I looked and I saw a mosquito on my leg. And so I slapped the mosquito, and it was one of those your own blood exploding everywhere. And the mosquito, it was really gross. But more importantly, I slapped where I was hurt, and it hurt and it was gross. And I made this horrible face and then realized I was on camera. So I'm
Jamie,
sorry,
she hated your answer. That's what she's saying.
It was
good way to explain it.
Which was very smart and not gross. Okay, to your point, Steve. Yes, as I have said many times before, but I will say again, you win elections with only two things. One, getting someone to vote who wasn't going to vote. And two, changing someone from voting from that guy to this guy. By and large, we don't have that second type of election anymore. And you don't need to look any further than after the most catastrophic debate in American history, and probably will be, right? I can't imagine we'll have another one ever again. On the day of that debate in June, Donald Trump was leading Joe Biden by 1.5 points nationally. And at the largest gap, which happened 11 days later, Donald Trump was leading Joe Biden by 3.4 points. So the debate, the most important one in history, moved fewer than 2% of voters. So that's how many people are up for grabs. And I would argue that most of that 2% didn't come from going from Biden to Trump, but they moved. Some of the Biden ones went to undecided and some of the undecided ones went to Trump, basically is how that happened. And now some of those I think have shifted back into undecided and some of the undecideds have shifted back to Harris. It's important not to confuse that they're just moving from one to the other necessarily. So that's all to say. Yeah, is this the debate that Trump wanted? I don't think so. I mean, it wasn't. But will it matter? No, I don't think so. I think the best case scenario for Harris is that she sort of had this month of euphoria and that she needed that bump to be high enough so that when the drugs wore off and she came down a little bit, she was still above him. We're in that period of the come down now, and she's starting to dip a little.